Students will start with the fourth module, System Design and the Class Design, which consists of the design stage, overall structure and style, determining the organization of the system into subsystems, context for the detailed decision about how the problem will be solved. Initially, we will look into the different design activities that are present in the system design phase. The first one is design goals. When we start with the system design stage, initially we should set the design goals, actually what we want to achieve at the end of the design phase. We should write the definition. Next is we need to select the trade-offs. Software project has defined delivery dates requiring that the functionality will be completed by some particular predefined date. Sometimes all the required functionality cannot be completed by the specified delivery date. So the trade-off will be between the required functionalities and the required schedule. That is the system on time? Is the system required on time but not complete functionalities? Or are you okay with require the complete functionalities but can be delivered late? So like this, we should be ready to select the trade-off between some of the issues. Those issues can be either select between the functionalities versus the efficiency or the functionalities versus the schedule. Next step is system decomposition. That is, the system will be decomposed into smaller units. The system will be decomposed into dividing into cohesive, well-defined subsystems. Those subsystems will be divided into the components, and the components can be further divided into the subcomponents. Next is dealing with the concurrency. So the concurrency is about the things that will happen at the same time. In the real world, many things will happen at the same time. Object-oriented modeling deals with this natural concurrency using the threads. The threads are the way of achieving a slightly finer granularity of the concurrency within the process. The next step is the hardware and the software mapping. Initially, we should decide within the system's components which part you want to make it a hardware and which part you want to develop as a software. System is partitioned into hardware and software components developed separately. Decide considering the trade-off between whether a system or a hardware is to be bought separately or build it for the actual purpose. The hardware and the software allocation should be done for the software and the hardware part, mapping the objects onto the process, memory or input-output devices, and the allocation are mapped onto the connectivity when the subsystems are to be communicated with each other. Next is managing the data, that is data management. In this one, we will manage the persistent object which require persistent storage related to the files, the database and the data structures. We need to answer few of the questions which are related to the volume of the data you are handling. Are you handling the raw data? Keeping the data for longer or short time, that is, are you storing some temporary data or permanently you are storing some of the data? Next is how long will you store it? Need to keep the information about are you maintaining the archived information or the temporary logs. Next is we should decide about the access levels are to be fixed when the database is to be accessed by the multiple level user. Next is how we will handle the data porting across the multiple platforms. Next is how are you handling the backup mechanism? How will you be handling the storage pairs when you are actually dealing with the database? So here the UML mapping, the class will be mapped into a table and the attributes become the columns in that particular table. Example, if you are taking a student class, in that one we have the attributes like name of the student, the roll number and the marks he has scored in 3 subjects. Now the name, USN, M1, M2, M3 will become the column and the instance of the class will represent the row. That is, if you are maintaining the information of a particular student's X with the roll number 1, and if he has stored 25 marks in subject 1, 26 in subject 2 and 24 in subject 3, then the row that is present in the table will be, in the name column you are writing X, USN you are writing in the column, second column as 1, and remaining 3 columns will be filled with the marks he has scored in the respective 3 subjects. Next is handling the global resources. Here we discuss across the access control, that is different access control will be modeled by the association with the different use cases with the different actors. For example, you have a resource bank database. In that one, the manager will have different access level, whereas the customer will have different access level to the same database. The customer can view only his data, but whereas the manager can view others' information also. Like this, the global resource handling will control the access that will be given to the different users with respect to different use cases. Next, we should also consider here the security. How are you maintaining it? That is authentication that is provided to the user, and then the data when it is stored, are you encrypting it? The information will be provided. These questions are to be answered, that is regarding the security that is required, which includes the authentication and the encryption of the data. Next is the software control. The software control deals with what kind of software you are developing. That is, decide, is it a monolithic where the system is designed without modularity and the single application is handling both the software part as well as user interface and the data access. You are not accessing another, you are not taking the help of another software to deal with the database and the UI. So everything is combined into the single program. So they are called as monolithic. Next is, if you are dealing with the concurrent processes, how will you be managing? Next is, are you taking the help of threads in case of the concurrency? Are to be defined very much clearly. Next is the dealing with the boundary conditions. The boundary conditions consist of the initialization, termination and handling of the failure. When the system is designed, it should address the use cases like initialization, which describes how a system which has no initialization is initialized with a steady state. Next, you should explain the termination conditions, like which process will terminate the activities, and during the time of termination which all resources are to be freed, and the notified upon the termination, how are you giving the notification that this particular process is terminated. The next is how we'll be handling the failures. The many possible causes of failure are like, there can be a bugs, errors or external processes like power supply may be off, or there may be a problem with the communication network. They should be taken care, including the fatal failures.